How's it going? Just got done eating dinner. It was eggs and sausage with Mr. Peeps. He's down there licking on the bowl, having a good time. Come on, Mr. Peeps. So I thought I'd make a video just talk about how I ended up in the truck driving. Years ago, I don't know, I guess 2005. The guy I actually work for now, it's my best friend's dad, bought himself a brand new 2004 Peterbilt 379 day cab, dual exhaust, brand new, 0 miles. The thing was gorgeous. His son called, which is my best friend, said, "Hey, come over here and look at this truck my dad just bought." So I did. I went and looked at it, and we hung on it for hours and talked about it, and we just fell in love with it. Or I did. So he offered for me to come work for him if I could get my CDL. And I did. I went and got my temps at that time, and he had that truck a month and let me come and drive it. A month, brand new. And there I am with my temps. And I drove it. Scared to death, but I was hooked. But it was many years before I actually started working for him. It was actually this past year. Life happens. I mean, 2005, I lost my job at the Hoover Company at the time. They left. They went to Mexico and China. And I was offered a job at another place, making fantastic money. So I took it. So that was the end of me wanting to truck driving there. So I worked there 8 years and worked my way. I started at the bottom as a carpenter and then worked my way into management. Did that for a few years, and then they got bought out and got rid of everybody in management. So Ed, my buddy's dad, actually knew somebody that was hiring in the oil field, and I wanted to go in the oil field for whatever reason. I mean, it was just starting to boom here in Ohio, and I wanted to give it a go. So it was a casing company, and it was for casing inspection. And what that is they unload the casing at the rigs, throw it on racks, and you take the caps off, you scrub the pipe dope on, and you check the threads, you run a drift through it, and you're checking the diameter, make sure there's no dents in the casing and all that. And I got my training in that, and within a few months they made me a lead inspector, and I ended up running their inspection division for Ohio. But it was a horrible job. We were covered in solvent. It was god awful. And I would work, I was working 120 hours a week. It was awful. And then the last straw was for that is we did a job. I worked 24 hours straight to do this job, and they had no crew that could cover a job in Kentucky. So they made me drive all the way to Kentucky, 6-7 hours, do the job, which took 16 hours, and then drive back. I got no sleep. I drove to Kentucky and I drove back. It was a pickup, not a semi, whatever. So I got completely ticked off, and I called a truck driving company, or truck driving school, and I talked to them, got the financing, paid for some of it, and told my job I'm going to truck driving school. They were ticked, but they let me work the weekends, and I ended up going to trucking school Monday through Friday, and then I'd work the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. But the crazy part is the casing is, they needed me so bad to do that casing inspection on the weekends. I would get 40-50 hours in 2 days. So it worked out. So I got my CDL, and told them that I could either come drive for them because they have a fleet, or I was going to go somewhere else. They let me come drive for them, and which was awesome. It was hard. It was it was awesome that they did that, and very dangerous for me that I didn't know. Nothing happened. I didn't wreck or anything, but so they put me with a guy for 1 day or 2 days. I rode around with him for a day, and then I drove to where did I drive? He drove out to Fairmont, PA, and I drove back. The next day, they assigned me a truck, had me follow him to a well, and they cut me loose from then on. Yeah, it was the scariest time of my life because I was not in a box truck or anything. I was hauling casing. And I was hauling casing in the oil field of Ohio and West Virginia and PA, which the roads are insane. And by that time it was winter. Imagine that. Imagine your first driving job in the oil field. Your first truck driving job ever. It's in the oil field, on all these back sketchy roads, tight, scary. And in the winter, it's like worst case scenario all the way around. But I made it work, and then I had some trying times. I couldn't back up, just like every rookie. Which basically is thrown into the fire. Which was good for someone like me. That's my personality. I like to jump into things, and that's the only way, that's the best way for me. And it worked out. And I've been doing that, driving trucks since 2015. Yeah. This is my 4th year. And I did that for 3 years. I loved it, but then I had the opportunity. My buddies, Dad Ed came to me and said, "Hey, I'll buy you a truck if you come drive for me and go do sand." And told me about how much money it was, and it took him about a year to convince me to do that. So last January, he called me and said, "I got a buddy that somebody I know, they have a truck that's empty, and they want you to come drive for them and learn to sand." So when they told me what the pay was, and I said, "Well, yeah, I'll do it," and I did. And it was a disaster, to say the least. I got in the truck. It was a 2011 Peterbilt. I love the truck, don't get me wrong. 2000 Peterbilt 388 with a C15. It's tuned up. The thing was a monster. And it broke down every single week. 2 oil coolers. Exhaust fell off both sides. The best one was the transmission died. One day it just wouldn't shift. But I made it work. I even delivered 2 loads with it, and it was just horrible. And here they had the previous driver on that truck had a PTO. The PTO exploded inside. He probably put it in gear without putting the clutch in, and the PTO exploded inside the transmission. And instead of taking the transmission apart like you should to get all that out of there, they left it in there, and probably a piece from the old PTO finally worked its way into a gear, and it destroyed it. But they put a new transmission in. And then I told Ed, I said, "I can't do this, man. This truck's breaking down every daggone week. I ain't making no money." I worked for them, I think, for 3 months, and I only worked 1 full week. It's terrible. So I get a picture on my phone from my best friend, his dad, whatever, and it's of this truck right here. He said, we just bought a truck for you to drive. And honestly, I was taken aback. This is my dream truck. It is. It's a W900, 280-inch wheelbase. It's huge. Big condo sleeper. It's 86 inches, the biggest sleeper they put on at Kenworth. It's got the owner-operator package. I've got every gauge you can imagine. I've got every option you can imagine that they have for 2012. This truck has everything that they put into 2012. Everything. CD player. I've got a sunroof. I got everything. This truck is awesome. And I love it. It's got the Cummins 500 horse, 500 horse, 1850 torque. The truck is awesome. I love it. I love the truck. I love hauling sand, and it's all worked out. And that's just a little recap of my journey into how I got where I am right now, which is loving life. Really. I mean, this last year was rough because it was slow, but looks like this year is going to be awesome. And granted, yeah, this last year was slow, but I still made good money. Enough to get off of, get by on. More than enough to get by on. And looks like this year will double that. So life goes on. And I love my job. Yeah, it sucks to be away, but I'm in my dream truck. Life is awesome. And I got Mr. Pete's here with me. I was sleeping. Hi, Mr. Pete. He says hi. Mr. Pete says hi. But y'all take it easy.